You're listening to the PRO Media Network, the next level in entertainment.
You're listening to the Pelicans post-game report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
For all things Pelicans, you're now tuned in to the Pelican post-game report on the PRO Media Network. What's going on, family? I'm Big Q chiming with you. On the latest installment of the Pelican post-game report, please hit the subscribe button, please hit the like button, and please take the show's link and share it on your social media as we fire up another Pelican post-game report edition, and this one's sponsored by ESPN's First Take, as we will continue to deliver the absolute smackdown on these people that are a joke. This is an absolute ridiculousness. We're going to play an interview. It's about 10 minutes in length. I don't know if we'll play the entire interview, but if I do play the entire interview, we'll kind of stop it and piece it and make absolute sense of why Alvin Gentry's confused of why he was fired in the first place. Stephen A. Smitty's even chimed in and said that you got screwed. How did he? You know what? I'm going to just save it. We're going to bring in our co-contributor for the Pelican post-game report show. We got DC bringing in this one, man. And of course, man, I just had to tell you, bro, in this one, DC, how you doing, brother?
I don't know, man. I'm a little confused after watching this interview. You definitely got to play this whole interview, man. We can break it up in pieces, but they got to hear this.
This is ridiculousness. This is the absolute lunacy of what ESPN is, and that's why I was saying we talked about it on the Sports Coma when I went into it hard about Mike Thomas being hands down the best wide receiver in the game. Statistics, damn your opinion. It's about the facts and the stats, not about opinion. Everybody got a nose. Everybody got an opinion. It's like a nose. You know the old saying. But the statistics speak boldly. That's what the money is based upon, their production. The catches mean reception yards. The catches mean touchdowns. Outside of that football stuff, we go into the basketball stuff. This is absolutely insane how they can even format the mindset to even say the type of balderdash you heard spewing out of Stephen A. Smith. And Max Kellerman, we just look at him as a sports idiot. Anything that's not boxing, he's a sports idiot on it. So he's you know what I'm saying? But anyway.
Well, Stephen A., I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but let me say something here to reinforce what you're saying and then some type of way go against it.
Weak contrarian. That's what he is, DC, man. I tell you what, a weak contrarian. Big ups to Kevin, GM Kev in the building, and Big Smoke Dog. What up, Smoke? Chilling in the building as well as most Pelican family starts tuning in for this one. And y'all gonna want to get you something cold to drink and sit down and put your feet up. You're gonna want to put your feet up and enjoy some really good Pelican talk because they got me and DC lit up tonight with this garbageness. Anyway, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna start off by playing. This is pretty much what this is about. This is an interview from Elven from ESPN's First Take. We're gonna play the majority of it. Then we're gonna reference it back in the point. We also had Mozzie 5 sent me a communication saying that he wants to chime in, so you might have Mozzie 5 a little later, maybe so, maybe not. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, here we go. This is what Alvin Gentry, he feels confused. He feels confused, and Stephen A. says he was screwed. Here for yourself.
Contract in 5 seasons. Gentry amassed 175 wins, which is second all-time in Hornets Pelicans team history. But the team suffered a number of injuries, forcing him to use different starting lineups throughout his tenure. On that note, we welcome in Coach Gentry to the show. And Coach, thank you so much for being with us this morning. Coach, I want to start with this. Considering the unusual circumstances, obviously with the bubble and the injuries that your team endured, do you think it's fair to characterize this firing as a bit premature?
I mean, obviously I would think so, but there's people that make decisions that that are in charge, and those are the things you have to go with. So I'm fine with it. They wanted to make a change. I still think I'm a good basketball coach. I still think that team is going to be a very good basketball team. It's a bunch of young guys just trying to find themselves. But as I said, the people in charge decided that it was time to make a change. So I'll go with that and just move on to my next venture.
A statement and then a question. The statement first. You got screwed. It's not fair what happened. I don't like it one bit. David Griffin, I'll deal with him later. Here's my question to you, Coach. Did this catch you by surprise, or did you see this coming?
I would have to say that it did catch me by surprise, but obviously when you're in a situation where you're trying to get a franchise going and you got a bunch of young guys, these kind of things can happen. As I said, I think that team is going to be a good basketball team. Obviously health is a big concern, and when they get everybody healthy and play, they've got, a lot of talent there. Obviously, they got draft transfers coming from the Lakers, and there's a lot of flexibility there. So, I felt like, it's going to be a good basketball team. But, they made the decision, and you just have to live with it and just got to move on.
Hold on, Max, for 1 second. Coach, could you tell us what they told? Could you tell us exactly? First of all, I'm assuming it's David Griffin that gave you the news. But secondly, and more importantly, assuming that's true, what did he say to you? Did he just dismiss you and say we were moving in a different direction? Or did he tell you specifically why you were let go?
No, he just said they were moving in a different direction. And, I mean, if they've decided that, then, what am I going to do from there? So, we talked and we talked about, are we on the same page or not? And, so those are the conversations that you have. But like I said, he has the prerogative to move on and find his own guy. And, as I said, I've been in this league a long, long time, and I'm fine with that. I just, it doesn't personally affect me because I think I'm a good coach. And I think given the opportunity, I could have been a good coach. I could have been a good coach there. And I think we could win some games because, as I said, I think it's a talented bunch of young guys. They got 4 20-year-olds on that team and a 22, a 23, and a 24-year-old. And all of them are going to be guys that are going to be really relevant as to moving forward. So got a good young bunch of guys, and I would have liked to have been there to help develop it. But, I'm not, and I don't have any bitterness whatsoever. I'm going to move on. I'll pull for them, because I like the kids there, and I think there's a lot of good people there. So.
Coach, to get into what Stephen A. said about you got screwed, you did seem to get a raw deal, or at least get very unlucky in the sense that for several years, everyone's hurt all the time. And then you have all this draft capital and everything, or all this young talent because of the AD trade, and then you had them going. Like, you can't just throw a bunch of young guys together and start winning. But after a while, then you started having it going. And the starting five in particular was very effective playing together. Then the pandemic hits, and there are all these high hopes for the bubble, but you're dealing with a franchise restriction in terms of minutes on your best player, and he comes in not in basketball shape. You have to deal with that. And so the Pelicans were an enormous disappointment in the bubble, but it was happenstance and kind of bad luck. Can you speak to your fortunes in terms of
Let me stop the interview right there. I can't take any more of this right now. We're going to break it up into pieces here. I have to stop it right there. This is absolute bull. This is garbage. Let me tell you something here. We're gonna bring DC in here. I want him to chime in here. This is absolute garbage, man. Let me tell you something. We cover this team every damn game. We've been covering this team over several seasons. This is absolute garbage. It is absolute garbage. ESPN is an absolute flipping joke. If they can sit up here and gaslight you into thinking that Alvin Gentry got screwed in the deal. You want to know who got screwed? The fans got screwed. How did the fans get screwed? We got screwed because Alvin Gentry is a losing ass coach. This is garbage. And to paint him as a coach dealing with injuries and the fact that you had a young team and, you got it going for a little bit. Then, you had the injuries and then one guy was overweight. He didn't come in. Bull. Absolute bull. I'm going to hit you with some talking points. I'm going to bring DC on the back of this. This type of stuff get me fired up because it's absolute garbage. First of all, this was a fluff piece from the very jump when the lady came out and talked about Gentry having one of the top records as a Pelican coach in the 5 lackluster years that he was down here. 175 wins. But by the way, notice the fact they negated to tell you about the 225 losses. 175 and 275 is the reason this chump is not here anymore. Because he's a losing ass coach. He's a loser. He has a losing record as a head coach. He is not head coach material. This guy is an assistant coach. That's why we were adamant about not having him here and that he should have been fired from the jump because he had lackluster outings before. Now, let me address a few more points here. All right. Number 2 is premature firing. Are you kidding me? Premature firing is 5 seasons and 1 playoff berth from Alvin Gentry. 175 out of 225. Cut it out with the premature firing. The fact that Gentry knew, it is documented, we covered it, that Gentry knew that his job was on the line this year if he didn't get this team into the playoffs. He said it as much in so many words in several different press conference clippings that we played on this very show. Gentry was well aware that he had to get the team to the playoffs to keep his job. That was the point. He knew it and we knew it. We talked about it. Number 2 is Gentry got screwed, saying Stephen A. Smith. The only people that got screwed is the Pelican fans that put up with his garbage ass for 5 years of a 175 and 225 record, of not knowing how to put together a solid rotation of players effectively. He might have not had Zion Williamson many games this year, but he had everybody else. He had everybody else, and everybody else was good enough to get to the playoffs. Miss me with that. The Pelicans overall are more talented than the OKC Thunder. They should have been in the playoffs. So miss me with him getting screwed. The only people that got screwed were you. You and me putting up with this guy longer than we should have been putting up with him. Absolute joke. He got screwed. He didn't get screwed. We did. He wasn't the right guy to be here. We've been saying it. He was Dale Dempsey's choice, and he was the wrong choice. They had way more qualified people than Elvin Gentry in his half brand of basketball, only teaching about principles of the offense, only teaching about unbalanced principles, and that's why his teams fail, because he's not a disciplinarian. He's not a tactician. He couldn't inspire the imagination of the young players. He was too old to have a young team. And in many cases in interviews, players like J.J. Redick and Drew Holiday were like, I don't know what he's talking about. We played it. And then let's keep on going here. DC, just bear with me here. Let me vent here. Caught by surprise. I'm taking notes. Caught by surprise, DC. He said he was caught by surprise. Let me reiterate that the fact that Gentry knew that his job was on the line this year. He knew to keep his job, he had to get to the playoffs. He was garbage. His team fumbled and stumbled, and the fact that he knew the pressure was on for them to win to get to the playoffs, they looked it horrible in the regular season restart. Losing to teams they should have beat. Why? Because of Gentry's choices in lineups. His perpetual one-sided tunnel vision approach that goes small at the first opportunity he can. His ridiculous stupidity of utilizing assets on the team off the bench. His ridiculousness and just the mindset to refuse to establish a top 5 reserve to come off the bench to substitute for the top 5 starters. The fact that he didn't play Jahlil Okafor, a 7-footer, one of the 7-footers, a true 7-foot scorer who can help your team. His ridiculous is not to play Kenrich Williams, a defensive stopper who you can use against DeMar DeRozan or De'Aaron Fox or those types. He did not utilize the assets of these teams. Let's keep going. Move in a different direction. That is what you're supposed to do if you're losing. You are losing. What direction as a basketball organization are you supposed to go to if it's not winning. You're always supposed to be moving in a winning direction. Alvin Gentry, you are a loser. Your record with the Pelicans has shown that you are a loser. You are 175 and 225. You are a losing coach. That's why you're unemployed right now. And the Golden State Warriors to take you back as an assistant, but you are a loser as a head coach. That's why you don't have a job. And the perpetual issue about youth. This is a young team. You know you had a young team. That is absolute, just washing away the actual truth of what happened. This team has a lot of youth on it. But Ingram and Ball and these guys are young players, but they have enough NBA experience under them to be effective. They are young veterans. They might be young, but they're still young veterans. They're not rookie players. And not to mention, how could you discount the experience of J.J. Redick, of Drew Holiday, of Derek Favors, Josh Hart, and other players on this team that are veterans that can hold a young rookie team. Now, he talk about rookies. There were 3 rookies: Jackson Hayes, Zion Williamson, and a few other players like NAW. Those guys, yes, they are rookies, they are rookies, but the young players on this team are young veterans with experience that we're learning from the veterans. This was a mix of youth and experience. This was a good mix, and he couldn't even get that to work. And of course, the ultimate insult is the raw deal about the injuries. Oh, you had injuries. Let me tell you something, idiot Kellerman. Every NBA team has injuries. It is up to the coach to come up with the proper scheme to be able to get beyond the injuries and keep the team winning. That's what depth is about. That's what establishing your backup rotation off the bench is about. That's what it's about. This is absolute nonsense. It's garbage. And ESPN is a joke to try to paint Alvin Gentry, this 175 versus 225 losing ass head coach, as a victim. The only victim in this whole situation and people that got screwed are you and me for allowing this clown to sit at the helm of this team for so long and continue to underwhelm. DC, please take it away. And then after you finish, we'll finish the rest of the interview.
Man, take it away. You done blew it out the water, Big Q. You said so many things that I wanted to touch on. I mean, it's just mind-boggling to me how they could come out and Stephen A., as soon as they opened up the interview, I think you got shafted, like you got screwed. How? You been in 5 years. We ain't won shit. Well, we had that 1 year when we had Rondo. Well, we won the Blazers series. But other than that, we ain't won nothing. And then other than that, well, I mean, Gentry's been a coach for 30-something years. He had head coaching jobs everywhere.
DC, he loves to throw that in your face. He throws.
How many times has he been to the damn playoffs, though, Big Q?
Come on, man.
What is it, about 4 or 5 times out of 30 years? Right. I mean, come on, man.
Come on, man. How are they painting him as a victim here, DC? How is that even possible?
They paint him as a victim, man, because they need something. They need something on the Pelicans. They got to keep their news cycle going. They done beat poor Zion into the ground about his weight. The man said he gonna change his body. So y'all ain't got nothing more to talk about his weight. So they need something else. I mean, I think it's kind of a compliment in a way that they want to keep the Pelicans relevant in the news cycle. And also, Alvin Gentry might have some connections, I'm thinking. Like, to me, this is more like an interview for his next position, because for him to get up there and talk about he was shocked when he said during the season, you already touched on the fact that he was coaching for his life. He already knew that. If he didn't make playoffs, he wasn't going to make it. He also said that, most coaches that lose 13 games in a row get fired. They don't make it. They don't make it after the season. Alvin Gentry said that. Then he also says in the same interview that usually, when we play like how we did in the bubble in that type of scenario or that situation, someone got to take the hit for that. And usually it's the coach. Well, how the hell was you shocked? If you knew somebody had to take the hit for it, and it's usually the coach, what's so shocking about you getting the pink slip? Like, the whole thing is just bananas, man. I mean, it's been long overdue. You could tell the people on ESPN, I'm going to be honest, if Zion ain't playing or he ain't doing great, I don't even think they watch the damn games. Maybe they don't even watch the games with Zion playing. They might just watch the highlights, because if anybody who's been a Pelicans fan for the last 5 years, how many damn times we've been trying to fire Alvin Gentry since year one? We wanted him gone. So what the hell is everybody talking about? Well, ESPN talking about he got shafted. Oh, they had a good team, and, you know, he got things going. You know what I see? I see a team with a lot of talent, and if they had another goddamn coach on there, they'd been in the playoffs. That's what I see.
That's right.
Because Lonzo Ball played horribly, but there is one thing I can say about Lonzo Ball that I noticed, that I watch Alvin Gentry mess up all the time. The boy played better when he get a lot of minutes. When he heated up or he got it going, don't take him out the game. Alvin Gentry just had a knack. He did the same shit to Brandon Ingram too. They would have it going, and them dudes would be in the flow of the game, and all of a sudden we get this weird-ass substitution. And you know the rotational pieces he put in ain't gonna fit. He probably gonna put 4 goddamn guards in there. Take them out. Put 4 guards in, and we're gonna put a power forward. We're gonna put a power forward at center. And run, and then wonder how we get down 10 points.
This is insane, DC. I mean, I'm upset, man, because the fact that they get him up there on this interview, and ESPN pretends like Elvin Gentry is a victim here, that he didn't know he was getting fired when he contradicted himself. DC, you said that Griffin, you see him as a liar based on some of the stuff that he said and then did. And you said to me that Elvin Gentry, in your opinion, is a guy that doesn't tell a lie, he tells the truth. I have to disagree with you on that statement based on this latest development. That is absolutely a lie, DC. He knew. He's talking about in this interview, and we're going to play the rest of it because I want to get through it. He knew that he was going to get fired this year. He knew it.
Right.
Because he knew that the thing is, he had to get the Pelicans to the playoffs. I have to blame the Pelicans for this too, because go back and listen to the Pelican post-game reports. We've been on this clown. We've been telling them about this as well. We've been saying that you do not reward. They should have never rewarded him a 2-year extension on the back of that losing season. When Griffin came in here with Transit Langdon, the general manager, for those who don't know, because we actually have a GM for whatever reason, Griffin is always stepped up. We do have a general manager. We're
gonna see him for the lottery selection, BQ.
Yeah, you're gonna handle the lightweight dude and let me run the team. You go clean up and move the trash around. Let me handle the big work. You go clean the windows and everything. Absolutely insane.
I don't think that man want to deal with that, Big Q.
Listen, he shouldn't have took the job, DC. Come on, that's not good.
Well, I mean, he might be a supreme strategist, man, and he might have a lot of input on decisions that are being made. But he might just not want to be the face.
Well, I give you that, because there's a lot of strategy to moving trash cans around to see if you can find out exactly where you can put them at. All right, we got another call. We got Mozzie.
Hold on. I hate to eat my words on the Alvin Gentry thing, but man, you're right, man. He was lying his ass off in that goddamn ESPN interview. But, you know, when the hungriness show, and you know, people liable to do anything, bro.
He shouldn't be hungry. He got 30. He shouldn't be hungry, DC, because he got 30 years. I've been in the league for 30 years. 30 years.
Yeah, but you know, he did have a 2-year contract with us, man, and you know that money he might have had for next year might be spent already, bro.
Absolutely insane. We're gonna bring Mozzie 5. Mozzie.
Truckloads of Heavenly Hill, bro.
Yeah, well, that's what he's doing right now.
You look like you had some good weed too today. You look high as shit up that target.
Man, I'm telling you, that dude got some issues, bro. Let's go. Let's move forward. Mozzie, we're gonna bring Uncle Mozzie online. He's our regular contributor on the Tough Tiger Talk podcast. If you're an LSU fan, please feel free to go to Tough Tiger Talk, our YouTube channel. Subscribe for that. He's a regular contributor on that, as well as our new show, which is TSC Unleashed, which we're really passionate about it. Mozzie, Man, I know you wanted in on this one with the Pelicans, bro. What are your thought process? I know you heard some of the interview from Gentry during ESPN. What are your thought process on the fact that ESPN is portraying Gentry as a victim and that he didn't know he was going to get fired? And of course, it's the injury's fault. It's the Pelicans' fault because they didn't tell him he was going to get fired and all this kind of stuff. What is your thought process on that, Mozzie? Mozzie, you with us? Okay, he's not with us. All right, he must have dropped out. But anyway, let's keep it moving, man. We're going to get to the next portion of it. We're going to fire up this interview right here and finish the rest of it. And we're pretty sure if we can get Mozzie to come back on the back end, we will. So let's keep it going. Here's the rest of the interview.
You know, coaching this team.
Yeah, I thought we were playing really good basketball before the pandemic. And if you go back and look, I think we were we pretty much have found ourselves. And up until that point, we had played the toughest schedule in the league. And our last 18 games were going to be the easiest schedule in the NBA. So, you know, obviously you still got to play and you got to win those games. But we liked our situation from the standpoint of we felt like we were playing good basketball and we were going to have an opportunity to make a run at the playoffs regardless of what. So we did not play well in the bubble. And, you know, obviously somebody has to answer for that. And it's usually the coach. So that's not a surprise to me. And you just, as I said, you know, you sit down, you talk.
Come on, man. Who else we got to answer if it ain't the coach?
We just moved on from each other, and that's fine.
Coach, educate us all about this. We know that Anthony Davis didn't depart from New Orleans because of you. But obviously, you know, it's more so he wanted to depart from New Orleans, probably going to a bigger market, whatever the case may be. But in the end, just the pressure that gets placed on the shoulders of a coach to deal with situations like.
Okay, let me stop right there. I mean, this is really hard, man, because there's so much bad information here. I'm sorry. I was fixing my mind to get the rest of this interview by, but the coach is responsible for the overall winning of the team. We know this. Why are you guys trying to gaslight the people? 17 seasons in the NBA, this guy has a 5-10 to 595 record. He's a losing head coach. He's a losing head coach. He might be better at assistant. He can't handle the weight of being a successful long-term head coach. He lacks the necessary things to do that. He's older. He doesn't have the intensity or the inspiration to inspire these younger guys, and that's on him. As an assistant, he'll be perfect. But the mere fact, you talk about the AD thing, it wasn't the AD thing. Let me tell you something. Anthony Davis lost faith in the organization because of Alvin Gentry. I'm telling you, he played for years in systems which kept losing, and Gentry's schematics helped expedite the process to move Anthony Davis off this goddamn team. Let me tell you something. We covered it. The reality at the end of the day is that Gentry was playing Anthony Davis at the center position. And how many times have y'all constantly heard me say that Davis did not want to play the 5 position night after night, getting beat up by Steven Adams, Rudy Gobert. And this guy had a 7-footer on the bench, and whether it was Alexis Jinka or whether it was Jahlil Okafor, he refused to play these men. He goes small at the detriment of the defense. It's a complete moron of a coach on the defensive end. Offensive-wise, he knows what he's doing to a degree because it's undisciplined basketball when you tell him to jack up shots without having a defensive player to get underneath the rim for a potential stick back. Any other mentality is to perpetuate your team to shoot 3-point shots without a rebounder in place to get it is irresponsible basketball and unproductive basketball. He was a major part why Anthony Davis lost faith in the Pelicans and wanted to be traded. He wasn't the only part, but on the court, he did not help. Davis did not want to play the center position. In his final year with the team, he was on the press conference, the season opening press conference, and he found out by way of a reporter telling him that when they signed Julius Randle, after the whole DeMarcus Cousins debacle, he said, well, when I seen him signing Julius Randle, I said, I guess I'm playing center. That's not how you handle your superstar, bro. You let your superstar in, talk to him on what you think that this team would need to win. That wasn't the case. They mishandled Anthony Davis, and I told you that they will run him out of here. DeMarcus Cousins on the floor his injury was large part Alvin Gentry's responsibility, because Gentry refused to open up the bench. He was only playing 3 guys off the bench. He refused to open up the bench. He refused. And he overplayed Cousins, and he overplayed Holiday, and he overplayed Anthony Davis to the point where these guys were wearing down by the midway part of the season. Complete moron. But you're going to sit here and paint him as a victim. Let's finish up this rest of this interview. I promise you I won't say nothing else until it's over with.
Like that, particularly when it comes to ingratiating yourself with players in such a way that that's a place that they want to stay. How much do you think that factors into the equation of things with a coach maintaining a coaching job in this day and age? I'm not speaking about you specifically, just overall what comes with it being a coach in the NBA in this day and age. Can you speak to that at all?
Well, I think if you go back and look, obviously, star-coach relationship are very important in this. I just go back and look at Greg Popovich and, his relationship with Tim Duncan. And, you can keep naming them. Obviously, Phil Jackson had great relationships with his star players, and it becomes important, I think. So it's one of those deals where, you try to have a good relationship, but you want to keep it on a coach-player relationship, because I think, you do have to discipline guys. You do have to try to correct their mistakes, and you try to do it from the standpoint of making it positive criticism so that they're learning. But, you have to have that relationship. And, I thought I had a good relationship with the players there. I think if you ask most of them, I tried to give them an opportunity to be who they were, and I tried to take their game and give them an opportunity to play the best basketball they could. Yeah.
Well, you certainly developed Brandon Ingram into an all-star, that's for sure. Coach, let me ask you this quickly, though, because obviously Zion Williamson garners a lot of attention. I just want to know, how challenging was it dealing with the minutes restrictions, and just kind of what you think about the concerns with his health long-term and the weight that he carries?
Number one, I go to the weight thing. I think it's really overrated. If you look at his body makeup, he's a big kid, and if you look at his athleticism, it had no effect on it whatsoever. He's going to be a generational player in this league. He's a tremendous player. Not only is he a great athlete, but his basketball IQ is really, really high. He wants to be a great player. And as far as the injuries, these things happen. I mean, obviously coaches want guys on the floor, and you have to also be smart in that, you have to make sure that they're out there and they're healthy when they're out there. So, it was hamstrung, from the standpoint of him not being able to be out there for a lot of minutes. But when he is and when he was, I mean, we were very good. And as I said, I don't see anything from him other than being one of these generational players that's going to be around for a long time and going to be an impact player for the franchise.
Coach, 2 quotes from David Griffin that caught my eye are one, that no matter what you've done in the bubble, he may have been looking to make a change. And number 2, he needs to find someone who's going to be the right fit and have a shared vision about this ambitious group, I think was the quote. Does that surprise you about no matter how you would have played in the bubble? If that's true, he was looking to make a change. And when he says shared vision, was there any vision from the front office that you did not share and that you were aware of?
As far as the first question, I didn't get that impression, but obviously if he said that he was going to do that, if that was the case, then I'm not really sure why I was at the bubble at all. So I don't understand that quote whatsoever. As far as the second one, my vision is to try to have a team that can compete for a championship. I think that's every coach's vision. So I'm not real sure. You will have to ask him what exactly he meant by that. because my goal as a coach is always to try to get in a position to win a championship. So I would think that would be the franchise and his vision also, but maybe it's something different. That's something that you would have to check in with him and ask him that particular question, and he can give you the answer.
Coach, thanks for the time this morning. Please come back anytime, and we hope to talk to you soon.
All right, guys. I appreciate you having me on.
All right, Coach.
That was absolutely amazing right there. That was the interview, and if anything is done, moreover, we'll make sure.
What you talking about? You talking about the vision that Alvin Gentry and the franchise didn't share? Because I know what vision that was.
Please elaborate. Please break it down.
They shared the vision to goddamn win. The franchise wanted to win, and he didn't.
Oh, you mean that's the direction that they wanted to go in, the winning direction?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, have you seen your record?
Oh my goodness, man!
This man, he knew he was a stopgap. Q. We talked about this when the Pelicans was first putting all this together, and they cleaned house on everything, and then they kept Alvin Gentry. Remember we had that conversation?
We sure did, and it's recorded.
And I told you the last Pelicans post-game report, and I said it in the summer when we talked about it, Alvin Gentry is merely there to be a fall guy if things don't meet expectations. Or maybe if they do, but they could go a little further. Either way, they got a built-in excuse, and it's him. And then the coronavirus happened, so kind of got an excuse with that. And, keep the fans motivated, and they'll be just as excited about next season as they was about this season because it's going to be a major change. So he was the ace in the hole, man, because they was hyping the shit out of everything, New Orleans included, as well as ESPN, the NBA. We got a lot of hype this year, which is good. But, when you don't meet expectations, somebody here got to be on the chopping block. And they've been leading him to the slaughter for day one. So how everybody else see this, people been asking for your head, and all of a sudden they shocked, man. See, that's why I get on here and do this with you, man. Because I love the fact of people just being able to tell the truth. I said Alvin Gentry was telling the truth, but obviously he's trying to make a lie out of me. So I got to eat the words and say he be lying too. He just lied different than David Griffin, man. David Griffin on a whole other level. But I love what we do here, man. And we're going to give y'all that real. And this is a bunch of phony baloney right here, man. I don't understand how a coach how many losses? He got like 500 losses in his career?
Overall, he has over 500 losses. I got his record pulled up here.
And how many wins?
He has 510 wins and 595 losses.
Man, look, if I work out less than 50% of the time, what type of results you think I'm going to get?
Mediocre. Just like Elvin Gentry.
Mediocre. Mediocre, man. I ain't going to get no results. You know what I'm going to get? I'm going to stay right in the middle.
That's what kind of coach they got right there. He ain't even a middle coach.
I'm going to maintain what I already got going on. That's it.
Absolutely amazing, man. This interview was an absolute joke, man. They try to paint him as a victim. There is no way. Trust me, if there was some inkling of him being a victim, DC covered it when he mentioned the fact that he was a fall guy. The truth is, when the Pelicans came in with David Griffin as the vice president of basketball operations, which is a position that they created for Dale Dempsey. It was supposed to hire a guy that went on top of Dale Dempsey. That's how the VP position was created. It was created to be the boss on top of Dale Dempsey. And the person that was originally supposed to fill the position was Joe Dumars, who's currently with the Sacramento Kings, who's taken over as the interim general manager because they just fired Vlade Divac over there. So at the time, Dumars came in, interviewed with them, and was supposed to get the job. It came down to money. They did not want to spend the money to get him, and ultimately they backed off and gave the job to Dale Dempsey. So he had the vice president of basketball of operations hat, and he had the general manager hat. Ultimately, when he was fired, the move came in. They wanted a guy with some basketball sense who had a track record of success, who people liked around the league, and it was David Griffin. Griffin then comes behind, hires Transit Langdon as his general manager, even though the guy is completely missing. He never says anything. We don't see him. and he's supposed to be the quiet GM, which I think that's absolute and utter nonsense. It's his job as the general manager to build this team. Dick Griffin needs to go sit his ass down and be quiet. That's number one. Number two, the Alvin Gentry debacle, when those guys came in, they changed everything. They got rid of these old contracts and stuff like Solomon Hill that was sitting on the books, and they made a really bunch of really good moves. They did a good job of filling out the Anthony Davis situation. They had a trade set up with Boston before it was ruined by Rich Paul when he came out on social media and told the Boston Celtics and the entire nation that if you could trade Anthony Davis to Boston, he will only play with you for the rest of the season, and when he becomes a free agent, he's going to Los Angeles. So that destroyed whatever chances of trades we could have gotten with Jason Tatum was the guy that we're praying for.
It's looking like a horrible move for AD hindsight, right?
Well, hey, that's what he gets.
Boston cooking right now, man.
Well, that's my thing.
Over there.
He would have looked really good over there because they have a really good coach over there, would have known how to use him. And Boston would have built a good team around him, and we'd end up with Jason Tatum. But that doesn't matter. AD goes to the Lakers. We end up getting a trade that ultimately happened here. And then the thing that they did was they should have cleared out the rest of the garbage. Not referring to meaning that he's garbage, but clean out the rest of the people that's there. Sweep out the organization. Get rid of all these other has-beens that were part of the losing culture right here. No, what did the Pelicans do? They came in with Gentry, and they gave him a 2-year extension on the back of a losing season. That set a bad precedent. I said it then. I came out there. You can go back and listen to it. I lit him up for it, and I said, this man is not the right man to coach this team. He's not a balanced coach. His rotations suck a lot. His teams are undisciplined. They shoot a lot of unintelligent 3-point shots, and even when they're up by 16 points in a game like they were on Utah, they will help Utah out by having low IQ, low basket exhibited times where they have low IQ. When instead of attacking the paint, attacking the rim, they will bail out Utah by taking dumbass 3-point shots, and that's how Utah got back in the game. And then then the defense was a complete and utter joke. So this whole thing about Gentry being a victim is utter nonsense. Let me address some few topics, DC, before I hand it over to you. The comment made about Gentry, because of course, yes, I took notes. Let's go to this. The comment about them saying that Gentry developed Ingram into an all-star. To me, that is a half-truth. And probably 25% of the truth. If we want to get 50% of the truth, half truth, 25%, I would say it's more like
I say
half
about
truth.
10%.
That is not the truth,
10% true.
That's true. Ingram was already spiring up to become an all-star. The year before last, he was hitting on it a little bit, and they seen it in him, and we seen him in it then. The upcoming year, we knew that he was on the precipice of becoming an all-star. Everybody knew it. If you go back and look at the tape when he was with Los Angeles last year, they knew it too and were saying it, that he was on the precipice of becoming an all-star. Elvin Gentry is not the main reason why Ingram is also. He shouldn't be credited with that. And if you want to give it to him, I would say it should be less than 25%. Now, outside of that, Zion Williams.
Wait, Big Q.
Hold on,
I just want to comment on.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to comment on that right quick, man. I think it's less than 10% because everybody in LA knew, man. The only thing was holding back Brandon Ingram was LeBron James because he had to have the ball in his hands all the time. And Ingram he could play off the ball a little bit, but at that stage, he kind of needed the ball, man, So that's what was holding him back. Alvin Gentry, I gave him 10% credit because Brandon Ingram had the freedom to be able to do what he wanted. And I don't think he ever had that at any point in his career. He could go out there and he could just do whatever because, coach let you make mistakes and he ain't going to do shit.
That's right. He was not a disciplinarian. You could jack up shots. That's what NAW did when he first came out the door. He would just start jacking up shots and everything. And Gentry was the main reason the situation promoted them to take these irresponsible 3-point shots as opposed to work the ball around and find a decent shot. How about running some plays, DC? How about that as opposed to running down and playing free-nilly, black top basketball, man. Running out on the park, just running down there and whatever. But anyway, let's get to the Zion Williamson minute restriction. That's a big one. They talked about Zion Williams minute restriction and the Pelicans have had Zion Williamson. Let me just throw this out there, family. Zion Williamson is a big part of the success of the Pelicans. That is true. But a lot of people are underestimating the fact that the Pelicans were loaded with talent on this team. We talking about guys like Favors, Drew Holiday, J.J. Redick, Nico Melli, Josh Hart. We had Zion Zobal, who played well prior to the pandemic stopping it, but after it, he struggled a bit. And then other players off the bench, whether it was Kenrick Williams, Jahlil Okafor. This team had more than enough talent to win 40 games this year and should have been where the OKC Thunder is. In my opinion, they had more talent than the OKC Thunder. There is no reason why the Pelicans should be sitting on the playoff, outside the playoffs, watching other teams play when they were more talented than the OKC. The only difference with them and OKC is they actually have a coach there that knows how to motivate his players to win games. The minute restriction on Zion Williamson was problematic, but with a deep team, they should have been able to still win games against them. And it ain't like they played really tough teams every night. You lost 2 games to Sacramento. I mean, this is just ridiculous, man. This is just ridiculous. And then also, Griffin was going to fire him regardless. Now, we covered that on the previous show. We talked about Griffin was going to fire him regardless of whether he made it or not. That wasn't revealed until later. But see, even if that was the case, Alvin Gentry knew that he was going to be terminated because he needed to get the team to the playoffs. Why would I retain you and you have 2 back-to-back losing seasons and you're sitting up there saying, I don't know why they fired me? You were not winning. You're using excuses, and you like all these people like talk about excuses. He using injuries as an excuse. He using Zion Williamson's minute restriction as an excuse. This is an excuse factory that's going on, and this is other nonsense. And then a shared vision. You covered the shared vision. The shared vision, the only shared vision that any progressive winning organization wants to have is winning. Alvin Gentry was not winning. So hence, this is his second straight losing year. His ass deserved to be fired. He should have been fired early this year when the team went on a franchise ridiculous 13 straight losing games. He should have been fired then.
Yeah, they work hard for that.
So, I mean, it's amazing to me. And then Griffin's fault for not white. It goes back to David Griffin. It's his fault we would have never have to even dealt with this if he had fired this chump before the season started and brought in a quality coach for this team, like we were saying at the time. Gentry could not sustain winning because his system doesn't work. It doesn't work because it's a half-ass system. Anyway, DC, comment on some of those things before we shut the stream down.
Yeah, man. I mean, you're absolutely right. Alvin Gentry basically showed his true colors to me, and he showed why we could never be a winning team with him for reasons that Big Q just stated. And the number one reason to me is excuses. He's full of excuses.
Yeah, he was.
It was always something, you know. We did have a bad injury history. But damn that, man. I done seen a bunch of other teams
so
have
does
bad
everybody
injury
else,
history.
right?
Look at San Antonio last year.
Exactly.
You know, they had a lot of injury and this year. But I can tell you one thing, every time I seen San Antonio play, they played hard. And a lot of them games they lost them in the last minutes of the game. How many games did we lose this year where we just got blowed out the water and embarrassed, man? That's to me that goes on coaching. How many games did we lose this year because we couldn't just execute and not turn the damn ball over? How many games did we lose this year because we couldn't hit free throws? I mean, they free.
Seriously.
That, you know, like, man, look, you'll be shooting free throws till 5 a.m.
Right.
You don't hit them. With some of them coaches, like, they're not playing with you. And we don't have that. You know what I'm saying? We don't have that. And if your coach can make excuses, I started saying the same goddamn thing with our players. And I hated when I seen Alvin Gentry's words coming out some of their mouths. Like I heard Brandon Ingram talking about, oh, yeah, we'll be fine. We're fine and we're fine. That's Alvin Gentry shit, that fine shit. Like he always talking about we going to be fine and we going to get it together. Or, you know, ball didn't bounce our way, all these excuses, and then we'll be fine. Zion said a similar comment. When I heard that, I was like, man, they need to get rid of his ass right now. But I've been saying they should get rid of him. But after the bubble, I heard that. I know that came from them listening to Alvin Gentry and whatever horse shit he told them when they didn't make the bubble. You know, guys, it was a tough year. You had the coronavirus, all these excuses. Champions and winners do not accept excuses. Winning is the only outcome, and we're going to bust through that brick wall or go over whatever obstacle we got to go to get there. Ain't no excuse. We lost. We ain't do good enough. We got to do better. That's the only acceptable thing to say other than showing action and getting it going, man. So in this interview right there, Alvin Gentry showed you exactly who he was and why we couldn't win. Because any reputable coach, and I ain't gonna lie, a coach that I would hire after doing a job like that, he'd have took the fault and said it was my fault. He wouldn't have rolled with none of them excuses.
That's right.
I didn't do a good job coaching.
Right.
I should have did better. That's what a man, gonna say, like, in a position, not to say Alvin Gentry not a man. I don't know him personally, but that don't exhibit manly qualities. You're accountable. You're in charge. So when it don't go right,
they're gonna fall on you.
It's your fault.
That's right. How you been in the
take the accountability. Take the accountability.
DC, how has Elvin Gentry been in the league? Like he always says, I've been a part of the league for 30-something odd years, and I've never been a part of a bad loss, a bad win. I mean, how is a guy that has all that experience then turns after this guy, you mishandled this. You had the supreme opportunity, and you did not do what you're supposed to do. And the Pelicans did everything to help this dude. They brought in several defensive people to help him win. They brought in Chris Fitch, then Jeff Bezadelic. They tried to keep this dude. They were overtly patient with him, but look how they're being painted as him being a victim now. And this team was overly patient with Elvin Gentry. That's why I said this is a bad idea. They should have fired him when they had the opportunity, cleared the slate. Now they got a mess on their hands. Now he got this garbage. Griffin has the garbage of having to clean up Elvin Gentry's mess on his hands, on his record now, when he could have just cleared the slate at the on and said, DC, go ahead.
They fired everybody in the organization but him. We didn't change the medical staff. We didn't change all the goddamn players. We brought in a new GM and a vice president. Shit, our owner even died. Everything didn't change but him. We even got a new mascot. We didn't change everything but him. And somehow we doing them wrong by letting them go. Well, everything has changed around you. We got all this new stuff. Got one of the best medical people in NBA history, in Aaron Nelson, because we always got injuries, right?
Right.
Did all of that. Got the fans back into it because we got Zion, a number one pick. We got everything. Got all the games on TV. The NBA even structured conspiracy theory. I don't really believe it had all to do with it, but I'm sure it had a little bit to do with it. They even structured the bubble in a way to make sure the Pelicans had a legitimate shot at getting there.
They tried to really
they would have won
the
6 or 7 games. They probably could have got there. They could lose 1 or 2 maybe. So you had all of that go on, man. All this change. And we still only won 30 goddamn games. We won 30 games without Andy Davis last year. Am I mistaken? Didn't we win like 30 games or something last year? No, that wasn't last year. The year before last or whatever when who got hurt?
2018, 2019, they went 33-49. Prior to that, the 2017-18 season, they won 48. That was his only winning season. 48-34. Then prior to that, the 2 seasons that he was on the team, he finished 34-48 and 30-52 in 2015-2016 initial year.
2015-2016, that's the year I'm thinking about.
30 and 52.
We ain't had nothing. Mm-hmm. And we won 30 games. You know what I'm saying? So this your MO, dude. Like you met your peak where we won like 48 when we played Portland that year. That was with DeMarcus Cousins and AD. And DeMarcus Cousins was hurt for a long time. Then we had the year where we traded for DeMarcus Cousins, and we had a shot at making the playoffs, and they couldn't make that work. We got 2 superstars, and you got them on a trade with enough time to make a shot at it. Couldn't get that together, but dude got to adjust and everything. Okay, another goddamn excuse though. So you've been winning 30 games your whole career, especially here. Pretty sure if you look at Phoenix, minus probably 2 seasons, it's been the same thing. So David Griffin, to me, probably knows Alvin Gentry better than anybody as far as a coach. I mean, this is the second time with a different franchise. He knew shit wasn't going to change. And I mean, Alvin Gentry is like 60-something years old. What they say about old dogs?
65.
And they set in their ways. Setting their ways, man.
Mm-hmm.
They're setting their ways. So if you want to continue, at least in this situation, if you want to continue to get 30 wins a year, hey, Alvin Gentry's your guy. I don't think we want that. So anybody with a brain who looked at all of this and then watched the ESPN interview, you should feel like how we feel over here. Because this don't make no goddamn sense.
ESPN is a
Couldn't believe it, did you?
ESPN is
Couldn't believe it.
I'm with you on that, DC.
Why they reaching for this, man? The playoffs going on. Why y'all reaching for this bullshit ass story?
They're trying to protect Elvin Gentry, and it's utterly ridiculous, man. Elvin Gentry doesn't deserve that. He's not a victim in this situation. And he talked about and what a hypocritical sucker this chump is. Because I've sit up here, y'all gotta understand my perspective where I'm coming from. Me and DC sit up here game after the game and for seasons and play interviews from Elvin Gentry. They hear the tripe that comes out of his mouth after the post games and some pre games about responsibility, attention to detail, not making excuses, and doing what you're supposed to do to win ball games. And then to see this guy turn around, get on national television and totally, literally just totally crap on top of everything that he was spewing out over all those years on post games is utterly reprehensible to me. He is an utter joke to me because he's a hypocrite, and I have his words in my head after all those post game interviews that I played from all the games that we covered here on this show with Elvin Gentry saying not to use excuses, and that's all we heard in this interview. Even when the reporters were painting these excuses, he could have corrected them by saying, listen, it's my fault. I did not do enough to win and keep this team balanced. That's why I'm fired. It's because I could not win. Winning 1 season out of 5 will get you fired in any profession, in any basketball, baseball, what have you. If you're anywhere for 5 years and you have 1 winning season, you will get fired. Now, let me go back now just to talk to you about your Phoenix. Let me show you how point you was on point with your record about Phoenix. And this is what Elvin Gentry's been living on, his Phoenix reputation. Let me tell you guys about what happened in Phoenix. Back in 2008 and 09, when he first got there, his mark was he had 18 and 13. He took over in the middle portion of the season. The following year, he was in the 09, 010, in the 2010 year, he won 54 games. After that, same way, he fell out. He fell through the flow. Next game, 40 and 42. Next game, next season, 33 and 33. Next season, 13 and 28, and they fired his ass halfway through the year. He ended up on the Clippers staff the next year, Golden State staff the next year, and then he found a job through the dumbness, the idiot ideology, the idiot hiring of a chump idiot. Dale Demps hired this guy after interviewing Tom Thibodeau, Van Gundy, and several other high-profile coaches who are way more qualified in terms of a balanced approach and accomplishments as a head coach. He has no accomplishments that you can hang anything on. That 54 and 28 winning season in 09 is the crown jewel of his coaching resume. He comes here with the Pelicans first year, 30 and 52. Second year, 34 and 48. He won 4 more games than the previous year, 63. And then at his 63 years of age, he had 48 wins, made the postseason. You know, they took down Lillard and all that kind of stuff, right? That's his high crown move. Could he build upon a success? The same thing happened in Phoenix that happened with New Orleans. The team fell apart. after that season because the hopes were high. He went from 48 wins to 33 wins, which he almost inverted the record. The previous record was 48-34. The loss record the next year was 33-49. He basically inverted the win-loss ratio. He inverted the wins and the losses. So he had 33-49 and then 30-42 this year. What's the point about this, Q? The point is this guy should never have been the coach. If you wanted him to be, he could have been an offensive assistant to help you out offensively because that's where he is. He lacks the overall balance, coaching schematic or mindset to be an effective coach on anybody's team then he's weak defensively. And it's just a culmination of different things. He doesn't have the discipline to play the proper rotations. We had to force him after 3 years of being here to dig more than 3 people into his bench. He refused. He had 12 active guys and refused to use the rest of the bench guys. He would go as far as 3, and that hurt the Pelicans on many nights. His rotations was horrible. A lot of many times you see the Pelicans out there freestyling, going up there, jacking up shots. They weren't setting up any offensive sets. They weren't doing that. And defensively, when they run back to get back on defense, they were allowing walk-up layups. They were not, instead of challenging defense and on the on picks and, well, not the give and go, but necessarily when they're shifting around, guarding players that's moving around, their defense sucked. The Pelicans collectively, I counted from watching years of Gentry ball. That's what we call it, Gentry ball. 12 wide open three-point shots a night. They allowed 12 wide open three-point shot, at least 12 wide open. That I count every game, at least 12 of them. And the teams in the regular season restart, knew that, like I knew that, and they used that to shoot them out of the goddamn playoffs. Alvin Gentry was a joke hiring to me, because they were way more credible and winning coaches. And I have a rule that if you're going to hire a coach or hire somebody, at least hire somebody with a winning career record. Or if as a guy has a losing record, what's the extenuating situations behind him having that losing record? You know, he could have been on a bad team, but he did the best he could be. So this was just a bad hiring, in my opinion. And, of course, it was then compounded by the fact that Griffin didn't fire Gentry when he had several opportunities to do so. Listen, 13 straight losses would get you canned anywhere. They allowed this dude to stay on this team. So he's gone. But what I really don't respect about Alvin Gentry is the fact that he utilized a bunch of excuses in this interview that I played, and I can't stomach it. He's an absolute hypocrite in my book. DC says Gentry, he doesn't lie. He'll tell you the truth. Well, I'll tell you what, you watch this interview, he's a straight up damn liar, just like DC said about Griffin. This is ridiculous.
Hey, Big Q, I understand that you're correct, bro, but can you please stop putting my name next to Alvin Gentry, bro? I'm a winner.
You put yourself next to him.
I thought he was genuine. You know, I just thought his memory get a little
genuine
jammed up
liar.
I thought his memory get a little jammed up because we know he got a little drinking problem.
Look, man,
you see his eyes. So I thought it was the alcohol. I'm like, oh, he drank a little bit. I didn't think he was just a bald-faced liar, bro. But he proved me wrong, man. He proved me wrong. Maybe it's Black Lives Matter, man. I was a little worked up emotionally, bro. I was trying to vouch for him when I said that. I don't know, man, but I'm disappointed, bro. I couldn't believe what I was hearing, and I thought Alvin Gentry just had more class than that, man. For them to try to sit up there and say, you got shafted. It's one thing you could say, well, I don't feel like I should have been fired. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay. I get that. That's respectable. But to sit up there and agree with them that you got shafted, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, were you not looking at your wins and losses record?
I'm like, seriously?
Are you not looking at one of the best players this franchise has ever seen has left and you played a part in that? Like, I mean, just the whole idea of him to get up there and do this interview, man, and just no accountability. So like you said before, he says that, but obviously I understand why my team wasn't winning, because they weren't taking accountability. At least for the winning aspect, I ain't gonna lie. I like our team, and I think those little guys work hard, man. We got some hard workers on the team. But when it came to performing in the games, I think they just had the mentality of, oh, we'll get them next game. You know, oh, this happened and that happened. Things just didn't go our way. And that showed in that interview, man. It's very disheartening, and at least a positive sign that our general manager is able to at least, our vice president is able to at least right the ship and make right on the mistake that he made by allowing him to go on and coach the team anyway. But like we said before, it was setting Alvin Gentry up to be a fall guy. So with this dude, you know, he's slippery. So maybe he knows what he's doing, though. Maybe his slipperiness can work in our favor. I mean, he did get Cleveland a championship. We can't put all that on LeBron because he was over there for 15 years combined, maybe a little less, somewhere around that. And he ain't win no championship all them years. So I can't give him credit for the all just the credit to him for the one championship they did when David Griffin had something to do with that. And they were constantly switching that roster out and changing coaches, man, until they got one that worked in Ty Lue. So hopefully we could get our version of Ty Lue. I don't really want Ty Lue, me personally, but if we could get our own version of Ty Lue to have the success that they had in Cleveland when he was there putting that together without him being miserable, so to speak, air quotes, I'll be looking forward to that. But I'm glad as hell that Alvin Gentry is out of here. We're so glad that we've been talking about it, and we did a whole show just to talk about it for an hour and some change to tell y'all how happy we is he's gone, and how ridiculous it was that ESPN would make a 10-minute segment. I mean, they gave him 10 whole minutes, Big Q, on live TV.
I know, DC. It's sad, man.
Talking about he's surprised. Well, he got fired.
He's surprised. Well, I'm not surprised. And he don't know why what we told you. Listen to this, you'll learn. Well, we extended the show.
Anybody who's a Pelicans fan surprised?
Not at all. We've been looking for this one.
Know.
I'd like to thank all y'all for joining us on this hour plus edition of the Pelican post-game report. Once again, man, we keep it real about the Pelicans as well. This was fun. Good event. We like to tell you guys, subscribe, like, and share the link on your social media feed, and we'll see you later. Peace.
Remington Tax Solutions is a company that, together with their partners, provide virtual tax consultation and preparation for individuals, small business, and nonprofit. They also provide notary and a host of other business-related services for their clients. Their associates provide a systematic yet very client-centered approach to their services. They offer the industry knowledge and insight to help solve your most complex tax issues. At Remington, their currency is time, the one resource that cannot be replenished. For that reason, they utilize the simplest and most effective forms of technology to make their services faster and more efficient. No need to wait in the office until your taxes are completed. Simply upload your documents via the Taxes to Go app or via their client portal, and they'll take care of the rest. Remington Tax Solutions is a member of the National Association of Tax Professionals and participates in the IRS Annual Filing Season Program, which is a voluntary tax education program to stay abreast of the ongoing changes in tax legislation. Remington Tax Solutions has a strong connection to the communities in which they serve. It is a part of their mission to make a positive impact on the lives of their neighbors. So, if you're looking for a reliable, effective, and trustworthy tax preparation service, Remington Tax Solutions is the business for you. Contact Remington Tax Services at their number 682-307-4410 or simply go to remingtontax.com. That's remingtontax.com. Remington Tax Service, virtual tax preparation for the individual and small business.
Get straight sports talk from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
Embrace pedigree.